Alright, we are up and going. Let's get Facebook fired up. 2, 1. There we go. How is everybody tonight? Let's wait till Facebook gets going, then I won't have to say that again. Hey, there we go. We're on Facebook. Alright. Get comfy here. Feeling a whole lot better up my way this week than it did last week. At least we're not in the 90s. We have had some rain. It has been fantastic. Cooled off a lot. Air conditioning went out last weekend, as did a lot of people's, I'm sure. Bass player here. He'll even say that in public. One night, you're going to get on here and I'm going to be sitting here with a bass. And you're not going to know what to do. Don't mean I'll play it, but I'll be sitting here with a bass. They're hanging right there on the wall. Actually, one's there, one's there. There's another one somewhere. But that's how often I play basses. I don't even know where they're all at. Not a lot of crazy stuff going on in the music world this week. I try to keep up with everything going on as much as possible. Can't always keep up with everything, but I saw, I think of his name, Charlie Crockett. I don't really, I don't know that I've ever heard Charlie Crockett. Probably have and just don't know it. But I saw that he booted his openers off of the tour because apparently they were Satanists. Guess Charlie's not a Satanist. You know, to each his own, I guess. But yeah, so they got popped off of their opening gig. Don't know if they, sacrificed a goat backstage or what they did to get kicked off of it. But they got kicked off of the tour, so they're probably more popular now than they were before. I'd never heard of them. So now I've actually heard of them, and there'll probably be a lot of people like that. There's the old saying, no publicity is bad publicity. That's not always true. Without a doubt, that is not always true. Thanks to you guys who have signed up on the Patreon. That is awesome. Trying to get y'all videos every week. Got out a couple last week. A new music theory video, which we're going to talk about tonight. For those of you who were on the Patreon, you'll have a little bit of a head start knowing the scales and things right here. And this actually can apply in some weird, twisted way to bass players because it uses the pentatonic scale, and I'm sure even basses use the pentatonic occasionally. I could be wrong. I don't know. They may not. They may have some magic scale that we don't know about and they don't tell other guitar players about. That's why you can always tell a guitar player when he picks up bass. Almost always. There are some really good guitar players who also play bass. But a lot of times it sounds like a guitar player playing bass. Just a totally different feel, totally different everything. So, hats off to bass players. We couldn't do it without you. You usually own the truck. So, pentatonic scale, this, like I said, it can still apply to bass players too. If you don't know what your pentatonic scale is, it's basically, you have your 7-note major, minor scale, whatever. Whichever one you're playing. We're going to deal tonight in a minor scale with an E minor. So you have the notes in your E minor scale, but what you do with the pentatonic scale is you leave out the 2nd note and the 6th note of the scale until they're really needed, because they're both kind of dissonant tones, especially that 6th note. It can be a real dissonant tone sometimes. So you're basically dealing with 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, which an E is E, E, G, A, B, D. And you can take it on down. It's those same notes over and over. E, B, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E. And the pentatonic is just a little different in that most scales, if you play an E scale, you start on an E, you end on an E. If you play the full pentatonic in one position, you start on your 1, but you'll end on your 3, which will be your G. So, bass play, I know bass doesn't have those bottom 2, but for the bass, you could do your pentatonic scale that way. And you can use that. If you hear coughing, my little boxer's laying in the floor over here. The camera can't get her, but you can use the top 4, follow that pentatonic and learn. And probably use that in some bass runs. Especially after you see how it ties into everything else that's going on. So what we did on the music theory lesson on Patreon the other day was I went through, there are different boxes, just like in your scales, your major scale, your minor scale, you have modes. You essentially have modes here too, but you don't have 7. You only have 5. You have the first mode that I've just been doing. And then your next mode starts on what would be the 3rd note of your scale, which is the G. Now when you get to this one, we're still playing the same notes. It's not going to follow the same pattern. We're still playing E, G, A, B, D. So if we're on G, we'll say G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, and A. So that's the 2nd mode in your pentatonic scales. And what we were working on with the Patreon was being able to mix those two together a little bit. Not in a super complex way, really, but just going down with the first mode and then coming back up. Or I guess it should be back the other way around. I guess we ascend from the lower note to the higher note in the first mode. Then we descend from our high note back to the low note of the 2nd mode. So it would be like this. So we go down in one mode, up in the next mode. Spreading fingers, Now, and like I said, there are ways to do this without having to, like I say, that'd be spreading it even further, really. Yeah, you got to spread your fingers. But, a lot of times you can take, and it's a mistake that I've made for a long time. And my guitar teacher called me out on it when I was doing big stretches, like something like that. It was, why are you keeping this finger planted? Because I was holding it down when I hit this note and then going, turn it up here where you can see it a little better. And I was keeping this first finger planted instead of going. Once that note's played, let go of it. And it will help you get I think that's how, and I've seen other people do that too. And maybe it's from a habit of playing bar chords with a bass player. Maybe it's just from a habit of keeping a solid note rolling the whole time. But yeah, instead of trying to stretch to that next note, just turn loose at the first note and go to your next note. So little something to practice there. If you're a bass player, I gave you something for bass, Keith. It doesn't happen often, but I gave you something for bass. Maybe that'll help with something. Not holding on to that and for guitar players, that's super essential if you're playing really, really quick, trying to do really quick ascending lines. Like if we're going to ascend that E minor up here. It feels kind of weird trying to hold that one down, and it doesn't sound as smooth. Actually, that's a little shorter stretch. Let's do A major for just a minute. So an A major, that's an A major arpeggio. And that's a pretty good stretch. But if I do it that way, as opposed to, when I do it that way, it looks like I'm trying to play a Police song. But if you go, it does involve moving your hand more. You can't really keep your hand planted. And I know some people really like to keep their hand planted, and I've tried to break myself from that too. But, so there's a couple of tips for the bass players and guitar players out there. Don't always think your first finger has to be married to where it starts. You can, as soon as you play a note in front of it, that first finger is irrelevant at that point. You can, sit there and do this with it. It ain't gonna make a difference. And, also getting used to playing notes with other fingers. If you always play an A with your middle finger, try playing it, or with your ring finger, sorry. Try playing it with your first finger instead, and because then your licks have to go this way. If you start here, your licks are going to go this way. But if I start on my first finger, so just your finger position alone can kind of dictate and either lock you into where, in a bad way to where you're at, where you never move out of that position. Because the same notes are available back here, in most cases, back here that are up here. I mean, a C, D, F. So you can get to the same note in a plethora, use a big word tonight, a plethora of ways. So think about that. But let's go back to the E minor. ADHD, y'all. It's undiagnosed ADHD is a horrible thing. I cannot keep my mind on one thing for more than 2 minutes. It's amazing I can hold down a full-time job and play in a band. I can't remember to grab a drink every now and then, though. If anybody is out this weekend, Saturday night, Cash Crop will be at the Moose in Kingsport. It's gonna rain a lot, apparently. So, if you don't want to go out to a marina and get wet, come to the Moose Lodge and stay dry. We'll have a lot of fun. We've been working on a lot of stuff. Had a couple of outside, really warm gigs the last couple of weeks. This week we have the inside, and then next week 2 more outside gigs. Next weekend we'll be at Lakeview Marina in Bluntville on Friday night. Bluntville Kingsport. I don't know what the actual address is. It was Bluntville when I was a kid, so it's Bluntville now. My address outside says Kingsport, but when I was a kid, this was Bluntville, so it's still Bluntville to me. Maybe I'll write a song called It's Still Bluntville to Me. So, anyway, if you're out and about and want to come catch a cool gig, I would tell you about Saturday night, but it's a private party, so not one of those things that everybody can just show up at. They probably would not appreciate that. I'm not saying anything bad about any of you guys. People just like to know who's coming to their parties. So back to that pentatonic. If you're the bass player, just ignore everything on the bottom strings. Here in a minute, it'll kind of go away from anything you'll be able to use, but at first you'll be good. So that first position. The second position is remember we're playing. What this is 2 notes per string. It's always going to be 2 notes per string. So to help you find this, go to your, if you got a guitar in your hand, a bass in your hand, whatever, go to your A. That's the 3rd note of the pentatonic scale. So we know the next note is a B. We're doing 2 notes per string, A, B. So there we have that. We know it's a D, D, E, G, A, then we need a B. So to keep it 2 notes per string, we have to drop back to here, and then to a D, then an E, a G, A, and B. I think that mode, for some reason, is the trickiest, and I think it's because it's a lot more shifting. You start off, then you have to shift back a fret, then back up a fret. It's not terrible. You can get it, but of all the modes, when you start, I was working last night with some of the Eric Johnson-y cascading sound and stuff, trying to put together a lesson on that, which means I got to learn to do it really well first. But I've had a couple of people ask about it, so I'm gonna learn to do it and put it out there for you. But like I said, that's the hardest one, I think. All right, so after our A, we'll go to a B. Find our second note, which is D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D. Then the last one, before it starts repeating, we'll start on our D note. This one I really, really like. This is a great one for solo, and so let me just show it to you real quick. Starts on the D. We have D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, D, D, E. It's a good one to slide back into our first mode. And all I'm doing there is repeating the same modes. I've said it before. Like I said, I don't remember who I heard say it, but think of from your nut to the 12th fret as the big neck, from your 12th fret to however many frets you have up here as the little neck. Complete exact same. You can play a lick in the, you know, exact same licks up higher. That's part of the trick to the Eric Johnson cascading thing, is moving between those pentatonic boxes. Not always just pentatonics, but I mean, you can kind of just hear there when if I start in this higher box, I'm going to start, which would technically be the second position. Oops, hit a bad note there. Hopefully this is I saw something last night and I had to get it. It's one of the weird things, and you bass players too. Here you go. Um, have you noticed that when you're learning songs, you're sitting down and you learn it and you play it and everything sounds great, and then you go to gig and play it, and your guitar goes from here to here. It's now hanging at an angle. So everything, all your muscle memory and everything you've learned with your neck essentially flat is all screwed up now. And sometimes I'll try to take and put it on my left leg to kind of give it that, but then it doesn't feel exactly right because I'm then trying to lift my left leg up to get it up there, because I wear my guitar a little high. Except the Les Paul, it hangs low. But I'd rather be able to reach more notes and look a little less cool. I ain't playing Madison Square Garden, you know. So I ordered this really cool little device. I saw it last night, and it hooks onto your guitar here, and it comes down, and it's got a pad, and it comes across and hooks here. It's all styrofoam, so it doesn't damage your guitar. And what it does is, instead of my guitar sitting like this on my left leg, it puts it here. So now I've got my guitar at a natural angle. And another part of it too, the main reason for it being made, from what I understand, I think Andy Timmons may have came up with it. But the big thing is, and you probably noticed this, if you sit at home and you play guitar, you're probably sitting like this. You're all hunched over, and after a while your neck just sticks there and you can't look up, at least if you're over 50, maybe, just me. But so that's another thing that's for. It once it comes in, it'll keep it up here where you can sit up more straight. And you get older, posture is an important thing. And on stage too, even if it's a little lower, then you're still used to the angle, and you can set from what I saw, you can set the height. So I'll probably be able to get it down about to where I normally keep my strap. So we'll see. It is scheduled for delivery sometime next week, I believe. Learn songs sitting down, practice standing. Yeah, that works. I do that too. I do stand up and practice. But sometimes I'm lazy. I'm just straight up. I work. Keith's been in the store. He knows. You don't ever really see me sit down. I'm up moving around all the time. I got to be doing something. There again, the ADHD thing. I can't sit down and watch a 2-hour movie. I just can't do it. If I watch a movie, it's in my kitchen while I'm cooking and it's playing on the TV in the background. It's just I can't sit down and watch a whole 2-hour movie. One, because I just feel like I'm wasting time and I think of something else and go do it. Or two, I fall asleep. I start a movie every night when I go to bed, and my wife says, "Hand me the remote." Because when you're asleep in 10 minutes, I'm going to turn it off. Because in many cases, it's Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, something in that basic genre anyway. So, hey Madison, I'm glad to see you around here. I meant to say hello to you there a minute ago. So, if you just got in here, man, we were talking about the pentatonic runs and things that I did the Facebook video on. So we just kind of ran through what I did on the Facebook video. Now, for those of you who jumped in and are already on the Patreon, here's where you can start really making use of those. What I'm doing with it is going. I'm doing it that way, full scales. But if you just take it 2 strings at a time, or 3 strings at a time, whichever way. That gives you a lick to walk up. Let me do that slow. Oops. And you can continue that on up the neck if you want to, or you can move it backwards if you really wanted to. Do it 2 string, and whatever you do on, we do it on the top string. Starts to sound like some Megadeth. Hey, I might have to learn some Megadeth tonight. But back on topic, ADHD. Um, work, and you can do it with 3 strings. I'll do one with 3 if I go. So there's a few different ways to pull you some lead licks out of that. I like the 2 string. I'm going to work on that a little more. There again, that tricky one. And then you start finding, see that lick right there. I'll probably let me find what that actually. I don't know that I've ever used that lick in this position. So there is a way to take what we did on the Patreon thing, and I did a short video of it for, I think I did. No, I did not. That was a Patreon only video. Patreon guy's the only one that got that one. I did a real short video of a music theory on the whole scale for YouTube and Facebook, so anybody could have got that one. But a lot of the videos on Patreon are just for Patreon. It's $3 for the cheapest tier. That's for a month. You get at least one, essentially a guitar lesson a week. You get a music theory lesson every Sunday, and then throughout the week you'll get a little pop in here and there. I'll throw something up. We are going to get the live stream going as soon as I get a night nailed down really good. Right now a lot of you guys tune in here, so we kind of get a live stream here. But the live stream is going to be fun because we'll all be able to see each other and talk to each other, and we'll have a good time with it. So, work on your pentatonic scales this week. Hopefully, that helped even the bass players in the crowd. No bass player jokes tonight, other than the ones I've already told. So, again, if you are out this weekend, Moose Lodge Saturday night, next weekend, Lakeview Marina on Friday night, and then a private engagement on Saturday night. Outside of that, August is pretty slow for us, which means we'll probably practice and add a bunch of new songs to the show. So, if you guys have any requests for us to play, Madison, you come out and see us pretty regular. So, if there are any songs you'd like to hear us do, throw a challenge at us. We love it. Leave the comment in here, throw it up on our page, whichever one is easier for you. And I already had my dinner tonight, so I am actually going to hop off here, and I'm going to practice. I've got some stuff that, the Eric Johnson thing that I'm really, really wanting to try to get down for the Patreon guys. There'll be a snippet of it on here if I get it. It's confusing, but it's simple. I mean, I finally, if there is a code to crack, I've heard 100 different people talk about it, and it never really sank in until I really slowed down a video and started watching it. Even the tabs, looking at the tabs, I look at them and I'm like, okay, why don't it sound like Eric Johnson? And I cannot do it at speed, even close to speed, so I'm not going to attempt to yet. But I will show you what I think is not the magic bullet, but at least a little bit of good gunpowder. You hear people say Eric Johnson plays in 5-note groupings. We'll do this in E minor since we're already in E minor. And we'll do it up here. Hold my pick. You know, picking those out like that kind of gives you the Eric Johnson-y sound, and you know, at least you want to think it does. But what he's doing, they say a 5-note pattern. So he's only going down 5 notes. And then he goes back to this string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5-note groupings. You play down 5 notes, then you jump back to your next, or the string you just left. But here's the trick. Let's say he's doing them in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where it gets confusing and it gets really, really easy. At some point it just clicks in your brain and you go, oh shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's that. But he does them in 6-note patterns. So you do your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 is when you go back up to that B string. And then the next 6 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a brain twister. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel on this. I got to work on it. I don't have it. I'm not close to it yet. I'm not near happy enough to try to do it at speed. I've hit it a couple of times just practicing it, but it's been very few and far between. So I'm going to work on that, and maybe next week, I'll show you a little bit of Eric, hopefully a little cleaner, better version of that. But for this week, stick to that pentatonic scale. Learn all your boxes up and down the neck, and it'll make it easy. Just for a minute, I'm just going to give myself a little more game. And I'm going to try to just move through these boxes. I'll try not to hit any notes outside the pentatonic scale, but sometimes just instinct kicks in. Oops. all in the pentatonic things. What's up, Chad? How you doing, brother? Hope you didn't get in too late, man, and caught some of this. So, hopefully that gives y'all an idea, even with the flubs in there, how you can take and jump between those notes. And the cool thing with the E minor pentatonic scale is that note's in it, that note's in it, that note's in it, that one. Every open string is in your E minor pentatonic. So anywhere any string you're playing on in E minor pentatonic, you've always got an open string to play with. And if you're finger tapping, that makes life wonderful. See, stupid stuff like that. Drive your neighbors and your bandmates crazy. So, alright, some of you guys, Chad, I will be getting you your email out with your link here in the next day or so, hopefully. Trying to get that all set up. Anybody who's on Patreon, tell your buddies about it, friends, neighbors, people that you don't like, then they'll sign up for it and go, man, why'd you make me watch that shit? Just kidding. Thank you guys who have signed up for it, though, and thank you to all for tuning in tonight. My little pup Lucy over here is staring at me and whining like she is about to explode, which means I probably should take her out before she explodes in my floor. So, you guys have a fantastic night. I'm going to let the dog out. Woof, woof, woof. Hi. I'll see y'all later. Have a great night.